Welcome, coaches, athletes, parents, and friends to the official Trey Athletes Season 3 kickoff event. We are so excited to have you all here and to launch Season 3, our 10-week virtual programming series. Season 3 is packed with engaging content, fun activities, and thought-provoking discussions, and we are so glad to have you all be a part of it. To start, my co-founder Rebecca and I will introduce our colleagues and tell you a little bit more about Trey. Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Reynolds, and along with Rebecca, we are the co-founders and co-CEOs of Trey Athletes. Like more than 80% of kids, I was obsessed with sports. I've been a Kansas Jayhawks and Dallas Mavericks fan since grade school. Yes, I had a mullet haircut. And yes, my younger brother Christopher did too. We looked up to athletes wearing our favorite players' jerseys and shoes, and we idolized local high school stars, both on and off the court. Like more than 73% of kids, athletes were our primary role models. But we can't talk about sports without talking about race. In middle school, I saw firsthand how systemic racism limited my teammates' education and opportunities. Tony, my best friend from that team, could dunk when we were 12, and everyone looked up to him, including me. But at the age of 13, my friend Tony was killed in a gang initiation. Sitting at his funeral, I learned firsthand that when Tony and other athletes don't reach their potential off the court or field, the kids who look up to them lose their heroes, and the communities who depend on them lose their voice. The power and the magic of sport is found in its ability to connect people, teams to towns, fans to players, and families to one another. At Trey, we believe the power of sport can be used for good, to unite, to inspire, to create racial equity, and to empower athletes in their lives beyond the quarter field.
Like Brian's experience, basketball also changed my life. I'm from a North Dakota town of 80 people and a blue-collar family. After mailing a homemade highlight tape across the US, I played basketball for the Kansas Jayhawks. I then transferred skills from basketball into my life and career, and recently graduated with my MBA from Harvard. As a first-generation college graduate, I've seen how sport can open doors, but I've also seen how it can close them, because sports doesn't prepare every athlete to succeed. My athlete friends from Kansas are incredible, just like Brian's friend Tony. And like Brian's friends, they didn't have the tools or the resources to succeed through sport. I thought that today, my friends would be running companies and leading communities. Instead, many of them are stocking shelves at Walmart or checking groceries in a warehouse. They battle anxiety, depression, substance abuse, even suicide. My friends should have reached their potential, but instead, many of them have become statistics. Trey Athletes solves these problems by empowering high school athletes to be leaders, role models, and influential voices for their communities. There are 3 pillars to what we do. First is Trey Academy. This is an intensive leadership program for future college athletes. We also have Trey Virtual, which is our leadership program for high school teams, and that includes Season 3, why we're all here tonight, and Trey Tools and Research, through which we use data and technology to help athletes and their families advocate for themselves and make more informed decisions. First, let's talk about Trey Academy. So this is seasons 1 and 2, and it's in our intensive leadership development program for future college athletes. In seasons 1 and 2, Trey helped each cohort of each future college athletes build leadership skills through 25 annual workshops and events that incorporate former college and pro athletes as mentors. Next, season 3, Trey Virtual, which is the reason we're all here. Trey Virtual partners with high school and club coaches to bring no-cost leadership development programming to high school teams from any sport or location. We will go more into details of what season 3 will look like later on. Throughout season 3, though, athletes will learn to first build an identity outside of sports and apply skills from sport into their lives. Second, prepare for college and explore careers through job shadows. And third, give back to their communities through service learning projects. And lastly, Trey Tools and Research. Trey works on behalf of athletes everywhere by providing high school athletes and their families with the tools to help them make better decisions and advocate for themselves. This includes resources like our college decision guide, our college transition guide, and the Trey report, which is a college comparison tool. The good news is it's working. We use surveys to measure our impact. To date, of the athletes who participated in our programming, 97% have improved their leadership skills. 87% say they are more confident in their college and career decisions, and 100% report caring more about giving back to their communities.
Since launching Trey here in Dallas in 2018, we've grown fast. In 2019, Trey was accepted into the prestigious Draper Richards Kaplan Foundation, where only 15 to 20 nonprofits are accepted globally every year. And in 2020, we won the Audience Choice Award for the United Way's DFW Social Innovator of the Year. I'm the luckiest guy on the planet because I get to work with all of these amazing people at Trey. You already know one of my best friends, Rebecca, and how she played basketball at Kansas. Rebecca also worked in accounting and private equity, then moved to Bolivia to work in sport for development, helping get women out of domestic violence through sport. She also recently graduated with her MBA from Harvard Business School. As co-CEO, Rebecca oversees all of our internal work, including systems change and operations. Rebecca and I have been friends for almost 15 years, meeting in college as nerds in the business school at KU. We graduated as co-valedictorians, and I worked on Wall Street for the first 5 years of my career, buying and selling businesses. Then I ran a couple different businesses in the fashion industry. At Trey, I oversee all of our external work as co-CEO, including fundraising and partnerships. And for season 3, I'll serve as moderator for each of our fireside chats. Amber Brown is our director of operations. Amber grew up right here in Dallas, where she attended Skyline High School. In college, Amber played basketball at UT Dallas. And after graduating, she earned her master's degree in public administration, completing a fellowship in Washington, D.C. Amber then moved to Cyprus in Europe to work for Sport for Development at Peace Players International. At Trey, Amber oversees all of our operations and has helped build season 3 for all of you. Tim Earps is our CTO. Tim grew up in and currently lives in Boston, Massachusetts. After graduating from Northeastern University with a degree in chemical engineering, Tim helped build robots for a successful health and sciences startup. Tim now works at MIT in their lab. And at Trey, he oversees all of our technology, including our college comparison tool for future college athletes, the Trey Report. Last but most definitely not least is our program director, LaJoy Royston. LaJoy grew up in Chicago, where she attended DePaul for college. LaJoy earned her undergrad and then her master's in curriculum studies from DePaul, as well as a second master's from Harvard's Graduate School of Education in Human Development Psychology. She currently lives in Atlanta, Georgia. LaJoy oversees our programming. She's written all of our curriculum for seasons 1, 2, and 3. And for season 3, she'll also be overseeing all of our social media as well. Over the last 3 years to make all of this possible at Trey, we've partnered with all of these organizations and people, including the Big 12 Conference, Fox Sports Southwest, the United Way of Dallas, Scottish Rite Children's Hospital, the YMCA of Dallas, and the Boys and Girls Club of Fort Worth. Thanks to our donors, partners, and sponsors, we've doubled Trey 3 years in a row. There's something special here in the water in North Texas, the home of the Mavericks, the Cowboys, the Wings, Rangers, and Stars. Dallas is the capital of both sports and community. Under Friday Night Lights, all of us have seen how sport transcends race and brings people together regardless of our differences. By helping athletes to be leaders, role models, and influential voices for their communities, Trey is building a movement starting right here in Dallas. And by lifting up the young athletes of today to be tomorrow's leaders, then and only then can we realize the true power of sport. With that, it is my distinct pleasure to turn things right back over to the woman, the myth, the legend, Amber Brown.
Thank you so much, Brian, and welcome everybody. Thank you for being here. Like Brian mentioned, my name is Amber Brown and I'm Trey's Director of Operations. And so now that we have a better understanding of Trey's mission, I would like to break down the specifics of what exactly we will be doing for season 3. And so as a rule of thumb, coaches should attend all of the Trey programming events with your athletes. Obviously, athletes, you are welcome. This season 3 is for you. But also to the parents on the call, you are welcome to attend any and all of the season 3 events as well. And so all of the events for our program will be listed in your program calendar. And so all of your coaches have this calendar. There's also an information folder in which we'll explain that as well. And so you can find everything for these events in your program calendar. And so as you can see on the screen here, this is what the program calendar will look like. So whenever you see that, that's when you know you're in the right place. We encourage you all to register for everything in advance because all of the links are there. And the password for all of the events will always be Trey season 3, one word, lowercase. So now let's talk a little bit about the structure of season 3. So next week, we will begin hosting our weekly fireside chats. These will occur at the beginning of every week. Each fireside chat, you'll hear from inspiring speakers on important topics that are related to athlete leadership. And so we're going to have some really incredible guests. And so we're super excited and to be able to offer this to you. Coaches moving after each fireside chat, coaches will then have the rest of that week to host a 1-hour debrief session with their athletes. And so this is a really fun chance for each team to really explore the learnings from that week's fireside chat, to bond together as a team and really dive deeper on that topic to get that value out of that session for that week. And so debrief sessions should always happen immediately following your fireside chat. And so, and they'll also happen before the next one. During season 3, each team will organize their and execute their own community service activity. So we encourage teams to start thinking about what you want to do now, right? What's important to your community and your team is what you want to start thinking about. And so that way you can start planning what you want to do together. And then in the first and second weeks of May is when we're really going to push to have all of our season 3 teams doing their community service activity. So each of the dates for when each of the dates that I'm talking about for the fireside chats and especially the community service are listed in your program calendar. And it's up to the coach to decide when you want your debrief sessions to happen. So athletes look to your coach and know that they will be setting that time up. And so that's kind of how it will flow every week. Trey will also host a number of job shadows during the middle of May. These will be Zoom webinars, just like what we're having right now. And this will be a really exciting opportunity for you to come in and learn from professionals who are in their career, who are former college or professional athletes who can really bring in that perspective of being an athlete and how they got to where they are in their career and really share that knowledge and that advice with you. So we'll have some really incredible speakers coming on and being able to host these virtual job shadows. And so we just really encourage athletes should attend at least one job shadow when they happen in May, but you're also welcome to attend as many as you'd like. And so when you enrolled, that's why you selected what your interests are. And so we will populate that to really target in on the most popular career interests. And so we are going to send out a schedule for the job shadows with all of the registration links to you when those dates come closer. And so also, of course, like the saying goes, work hard, play hard. So we definitely want to celebrate at the end of the season. And so we are going to host an end of the year celebration, sort of like a graduation party. All of the athletes, it'll be a chance for us to really validate your participation in the program, highlight all of the incredible things that you've had the opportunity to be a part of and learn and explore and really be empowered. And you will get a certificate at the end of this program, which is something that you can put on your resume and will really help you stand out as a better recruit if college sports is something you're hoping to go for. So now I'm going to kick it back to Brian for an exciting game.
All right, if you guys are anything like me, you probably sketch and doodle in your notebooks at school. I used to draw sports logos and mascots all over my notes. So tonight, with your help, we're going to answer the long unanswered question, which team from Trey season 3 has the best logo / mascot? Vote in the poll that Rebecca is about to drop into the chat, and the winner will be announced at the end of tonight's kickoff. I see a few teams going head to head right now. It is hot and heavy. Make sure to get your votes in so that we can figure out who has the best team, logo, or mascot. We're about a minute in, and about 40% or so of the people on the call have voted. So we're going to give it just a little bit more time so people have a chance to vote. There's some pretty good mascots here. I don't know who I would pick. I see Jay just dropped into the chat for all the panelists. Jay says, my vote is for the back-to-back state champion Duncanville Panthers. Who thinks Jay's right? All right, we've got about 80 votes, about 70%. Uh-oh, we got some more action in the chat. Anna says, sorry, my vote's for the Molina Jags. And Davion's coming in hot and heavy. He said, yes, sir. All right, we're going to let this run for just about another 20 or 30 seconds. I'm seeing some Mighty Gophers. I'm seeing some Jags. I'm seeing some representation from Bishop Dunn. We got Everman. We got Liberty. We got Lake Highlands. We got Central High School. I'm seeing Mansfield Legacy, Marcus, Mesquite Horn. We got Push representing, Sunset, the Colony, Thomas Jefferson, YK1K. Everybody's getting in on the action. All right, about 10 more seconds. Five, four, three, two, one. Voting is now closed. So like we said, we'll announce the winner at the end of the kickoff tonight. And up next, let's send things over to Miss LaJoy Royston for an overview of Trey's season 3 curriculum. LaJoy, take it away.
Hello, athletes and coaches and parents and everyone else that we have on our call tonight. This is so exciting just seeing all of you participate and seeing some of the talking you guys are doing, going back and forth about your teams. I love to see the team pride that we have here. As Brian mentioned, I am the program director for Trey Athletes, and it's a role that I love. What I'm going to spend some time right now doing is talking to you about season 3 and what you're going to be doing and the topics that we will be covering. So the first topic that we are going to have, and just as a note, these topics are for our fireside chats and also for the debrief sessions that will follow. The very first topic that we will have will be the power and culture of sports. This session is going to be geared at giving you an appreciation of how sports shapes athletes, fans, and the communities. We're super excited about this very first topic, and I think it's a great way for us to kick off season 3. Our second topic is going to be the history of athletes as influencers. We are going to look at how athletes have used their platforms in the past, kind of focusing on our current events and things that have been going on, and also allowing athletes to reflect on how they can use their current platforms to make a difference. The third topic we're going to have will be race and sports. This will allow us to understand the opportunities for both athletes and the sports industry to improve racial equity. Our fourth topic will be the business of sports, where we're going to learn about the sports industry function as well as possible career opportunities for sports. This is going to be a great session for us to think about as we are thinking about different job titles we'll be doing later. And I'm super excited about that particular topic. An important part for Trey Athletes is for us to help athletes build an identity outside of sports. Sometimes athletes, because you love what you do on the field, on the court, you forget about who you are. We forget about who you are outside of that. We really want you to gain a full circle identity, and that's what this particular topic is about. Building a non-athlete identity will allow you to see the balance that is needed for you to be a full-rounded and well-rounded individual, and to think about some different skills and interests that you have that you may have not tapped in yet. Our next topic will be athlete mental toughness and well-being. We are all about taking care of ourselves, not just our physical selves, but also our mental selves. Oftentimes, especially right now with us being in a pandemic, stress is a real thing, and so is anxiety and depression. We want to make sure that we talk about these things and that they're not a stigma. And so with our topic, we'll think about strategies that we can develop so that we can have healthy habits and so that you can build a strong mental and emotional health. The seventh topic for Trey will be balancing school and sport. And I think this is probably my favorite topic that I developed for us this season. And here we're going to talk about balance. And this is a skill that is going to be so important for athletes and just for everyone in general. Even now, adult trying to balance all the different things that life has coming at me. It's something that I really wish I would have developed when I was younger. And so in this particular topic, we're going to talk about how you can balance life, not just your academics and athletes, but also thinking about how you can balance with your family and your friends and all the different interests that you may have. Our eighth topic will be mentors and community responsibility of athletes. So as athletes, sometimes you have a responsibility to the people around you. We talked about how you can be an influencer, but we're also going to think about how you can be a positive role model. Unfortunately, for some people, being an athlete, it comes with these responsibilities, and people sometimes don't know how to manage that. So we'll talk about how you can manage that role and what it looks like to be a positive role model. Our final topic will be applying leadership skills through sports. So right now, all of us, well, a lot of the people that we have on the call right now are athletes, and we want to be thinking about your future. So this last session that we have is a very special session, and it'll include a very exciting activity, and I can't wait to hear the feedback that you'll have, because it really allows athletes to think about their superpowers as athletes and how they can transfer those skills into their everyday life. When we think about the story that Rebecca told of how she played basketball at Kansas, she was able to take those skills and do a lot of amazing things. I don't think she knew at the time how those skills would be transferred over. We can see that it's possible. And so we're really excited to have an opportunity to show athletes how they can use the dedication, how they can use the hard work ethic and the teamwork skills that they're gaining as athletes and use that in their everyday life. So those are the topics that we have for you for season 3. I can't wait for you guys to get started. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to my illustrious coworker, Amber Brown.
Awesome. Thank you so much, LaJoy. I hope y'all are excited because those are some really incredible topics. I know I'm excited. LaJoy did an incredible job at putting these together. So definitely can't wait to get started with those. So now I want to talk a little bit about how to make season 3 a great experience. So I know we all see pizza on the screen right now. So I know it's dinner time, so try not to get too hungry. But we just want to make sure that season 3 provides all of you athletes with an incredible experience. And so we've set some guidelines, not just for coaches, but for athletes as well, to kind of help you go through season 3 and make sure that you get the most value out of it. And so before every debrief session, coaches, you should take the time to go over the essential agreements that you have and that's described in the curriculum. And so make sure that your debrief sessions go smoothly. And then also, we really want to provide a community around you all. So we know that this is a virtual program, but we also know that social media is very present and prevalent in all of our lives. And so we are trying to establish a community around our season 3 participants. And so with that being said, we are planning to have a lot of engagement through our social media, which is why you see the pizzas on the screen. And so if you're not already following Trey Athletes, our handle is @TreyAthletes. And so all one word, super easy to find. And that's our handles across Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. So if you're not following us, definitely try to go in and follow us. We have tried to follow all of the athletes based on your enrollments that you've given us. And so we cannot highlight enough how big social media will be key for season 3 in helping us build that online community. And so we want to create meaningful content for coaches, for you athletes and parents that aligns with our programming. And so as of now, all of the teams have been highlighted on Trey's social media account, but we will continue to highlight you throughout the rest of season 3. But in addition to Trey created content, we really encourage you, especially you athletes. I mean, y'all got TikTok. Y'all are the true professionals at social media. And so share your content with us, right? Share it back with us so we can continue to build that community and that bilateral engagement. And we also want to incentivize you to do that by offering you the chance to win a pizza party. And so obviously, going back to the pizza on the screen, who doesn't want free pizza, right? And so teams have the chance to win at a midpoint in April, the week of April 12th, and then they'll also have a chance to win middle of May, around the week of May 12th. So engage with us. This is the rubric, right? So if teams tag us at Trey Athletes and use our hashtag in your Instagram story, that earns you a point. If you tag Trey Athletes and use our hashtag on your IG post, that earns you a point. We also have our Twitter. So if you mention or tag us in your Twitter, and it has to be both, right? So you have to mention us and use our hashtag, but also retweeting any post mentioning us and using our hashtag. So each of those can earn you some points. And we will be tracking a leaderboard for all of our teams. And so once we reach those midway points, we'll be adding up the total points and then announcing who our pizza party winners are. And so, of course, thank you so much to Rob Hoff for being so generous to make this possible to win some pizza parties for social media engagement. So with that being said, the next thing I would like to jump to is talking about our enrollment. So most of you have probably already completed your enrollments, or if you're on this call, you should have received some sort of announcement from your coach about enrollment. And so basically, the reason we go through this enrollment process is so we can get the information about you, right? What are your career interests? What is your social media? All of those really great things. But also it's really important that we get enrollment so that we have your consent to participate in our program. And so unfortunately, unfortunately, this is something that we have to have as a program. It's really important that we do have this. So coaches, please be sure to follow up with your athletes There's an enrollment form for coaches, there's an enrollment form for parents, and then there's an enrollment form for athletes. So as long as you've submitted it once, then we're good to go. And if there's anything I'll need to follow up, I'll reach out to you individually for that information. So the enrollment deadline has been extended to this Friday, the 26th. But ideally, we just need it in by the first fireside chat, because it's really important that we have your enrollment also so we can continue to communicate with you. The next thing I would like to talk about is our program surveys. So we have multiple program surveys. And so like what my colleague Rebecca mentioned, we track all of our program impact. And so this is how we're able to understand, like, is our program really helping you as athletes? So all of our feedback surveys that we distribute to you are really important that we have your input. Your input is very valuable. It really influences the way our program continues to move forward. And so it's super helpful for us, but it's also super helpful for you, because that helps us to continue to improve our program, grow our program, and be able to continue to offer these really incredible opportunities. So all of the survey links can be found in the coach's welcome packet. So the reason I say this is because your coach will be responsible for making sure that you get this information, they have access to it, but also Trey, we will send this our program surveys out to you, or they will be distributed in a different number of ways. So just to break these down a little bit, we have our fireside chat feedback survey. So after every fireside chat, Trey will distribute a poll at the end of it, and that way you can provide your feedback. It's really simple. It takes less than a minute. We try to be really mindful to keep everything really short. Our debrief survey, our debrief session feedback surveys. So your coach will distribute a feedback survey after every debrief session, just to kind of get your feedback, your input. And like I said, it's really simple, really short. It takes about 1 to 2 minutes to complete. And then community service. So after every community service event, your coach will give you your feedback survey for the community service activity that you did. And this should be given out immediately following your event, right? So you'll get done doing whatever you're gonna get done doing, and then just pull it up really quick on your phone, complete it and submit it, and that's it. And of course, after all of our job shadows, we will also have a similar survey. This will be distributed over a Zoom poll. And then last but not least, our post-program survey. So this will help us understand where we started and where we ended, to be able to measure our impact again. And Trey will distribute this to all of the coaches, athletes, and parents. So please be sure to complete all of our program surveys as best as you can. There's never a right or wrong answer. And like I said, this is helpful for us, but it's also helpful for you and helping us continue to grow the program and improve it. So without further ado, I'm going to pass it back to my colleague, Brian, for some exciting news.
Thank you so much, Amber. We are thrilled to now announce the winner of Season 3's Team Selected for Best Logo. Drum roll, please. And the winner is Thomas Jefferson Patriots Football. Congratulations, Thomas Jefferson. You guys are taking home the ultimate prize tonight. Patriots are on top. So everybody's got some catching up to do heading into Fireside Chat Week 1. Additionally, for our next section, we're actually going to open up for some additional questions. We know that we've thrown a lot at you tonight, and for parents, athletes, coaches, heading kind of forward, your coach is going to be your main point of contact, and anything that your coach is unable to answer, your coach can then reach out to Amber, who's going to be his or her primary point of contact. But at least for tonight, we wanted to kind of open things up, and anyone who would like to ask a question can do so by raising their hand, and we can actually pull them straight to the top, and you can be featured as a panelist if you would like, or you can drop those questions into the chat, whatever is best for you. So with that, we're going to open it up for questions. Let us know what's on your mind. Sean Smith thinks this is rigged, so we're going to have to reach out to Sean and prove to him with all of our survey results that Patriots won tonight. Sorry, Sean. All right, I'm seeing some questions here. First one is, what does Trey stand for? So Trey is a three-pointer in basketball as well as a field goal in football. And there are 3 parts to our program. So we talked about, our Trey Academy and Trey Mentorship Program for future college athletes, as well as our season 3 virtual programming series that we're now launching as part of Trey Virtual. And the third piece is our Trey tools and research, which we're using to help create transparency through information here within the industry. Clark, thank you so much for that question. That's a great question. Kenny Jones, give him the shout out. I see you out there, Coach Jones. TJ Proud. Do we have any other questions either through the Q&A or through the chat or through the raise of hands? Amber, come on back. Talk to us about texting and comms if you have just a minute. In the meantime, Kiwi Wilkerson just typed in the chat, so I'm gonna answer that question real quick, Amber. Kiwi says, I see that you are recording the session. How will parents or players who were not able to attend this time? Amber, do you want to answer that or do you want me to?
Yes, I will. I can answer that. So basically everything that we do will be recorded and posted on our YouTube account. And so we will do our best to turn around those recordings and get them on our YouTube account within the next 24 to 48 hours, ideally. And so one of our incredible interns, Courtney, is she's recording right now. And so you can expect basically this kickoff event to be on there. We even recorded our coach training and our fireside chats will all be recorded, as well as our job shadows. And also, if you're curious, our season 2 content is also on our YouTube, which includes, as we transitioned away from in-person programming to that virtual, there is some content on there that has some of our virtual events as well. So that is a really great question. And all of the athletes should know that. The coaches know that they have the opportunity, if for whatever reason they can't attend, that they can watch the recording. But obviously live is great because when we start our fireside chats, that's when you'll be able to hop on and ask ask the speakers questions. And so who wouldn't want to ask, these incredible guest speakers questions? And
Amber, we've got another question here in the Q&A. Anna wants to know if you can tell us a little bit more about the job shadows.
Yes, so the job shadows are virtual webinar events where essentially we leverage our network and the people we know and the really incredible industry leaders who are a former athlete. They've either played their sport in college or professionally, and they just have reached, they're not just anyone in their field, right? They're someone who truly displays all of the values that we hold as Trey athletes. As an organization who can really bring that perspective and that advice and that knowledge to the athletes who are participating. And they last year we featured people from the Dallas Morning News, the FBI, Fox Sports Southwest, and so there's if you're ever interested in seeing the content of the virtual job shadows we did, it's on from season 2. It's on our YouTube. And Brian, I don't know if there's anything else you want to add to that since you were.
I mean, it's definitely one of our capstone pieces, Anna, where we get really excited about having been able to connect not only everything that, the athletes, parents, families, coaches, everyone has learned up to that point in time, but also how to take those transferable skills that Rebecca and Amber and LaJoy talked about and really take them from sport and apply them in your everyday life. So for us, it's about making this experience really real and opening doors to new possibilities for all these incredible young athletes' futures. So we've got another question here from Jeremiah Banks, who wants to know, how long has Trey been around? So Amber, I'm gonna give just a little bit more Trey background here. So Jeremiah, I don't know how much time you've got, but we got lots of stories to tell as it relates to all things Trey athletes. So dating all the way back to, roughly 2016 or so is when Rebecca really started digging in as it related to this problem. She saw firsthand how so many of her friends were struggling in life after sport. And it was a personal problem for her, such that when we connected, we've obviously been friends for, like I said, over 15 years. We stayed in touch, but we were living in different locations at the time. And we had a pretty fateful catch-up call where Rebecca was telling me about some of the research that she was doing. And I connected that with some of the personal experiences I had when I was a kid. That led to us doing the research and building what has now become Trey Athletes. So we launched here in Dallas with our very first cohort for season 1 in 2018. That was after, a couple of years worth of research and user testing and lots of data gathering and everything else while Rebecca was at Harvard Business School. Prior to that, I should also mention, we actually did our pilot program where we did a really sort of quick test, if you will, with 5 of the top high school football players in Chicago. All those guys are now playing football in college, including one of our very first Trey athletes who's now a tight end at Alabama. And those guys probably taught us more than we taught them, if I'm being entirely honest with you. We knew that we were onto something, but it was absolutely incredible to learn firsthand from our athletes and our families. Then upon moving here to Dallas, we got really excited by not only were we able to connect with some of the most incredible athletes, but also the most incredible people. Our Trey athletes and families from seasons 1 and 2 have become like family for Rebecca, LaJoy, Amber, myself, and Tim as well. It's so fun to see not only all of our athletes excelling on the court, where we focused almost entirely on basketball for seasons 1 and 2, but in the classroom as well. So whether they were, all state or several of whom who are academic all state, it's really exciting to see how our athletes have continued to grow and really blossom. We have a number of Trey athletes who are now competing in college as freshmen. So our first class of graduating seniors was just this past year. And there's a couple of the young ladies playing on Baylor in the tournament who we're very excited to see them repping Trey out there strong. So with that, Jeremiah, if you have any additional questions, shoot us a note and I'm here to answer whatever, whenever, however you want. It looks like Jonathan might have a question as well. Jonathan Young, I think that we might have heard something from you.
Awesome. Well, while we wait for Jonathan's question, if he does have one, I do want to mention briefly that Trey athletes, we use a mass texting service, and that will allow us to send out weekly notifications so you can get the link to register for the next fireside chat. So please don't unsubscribe. I know we all probably receive a lot of text messages and solicitations, but Trey athletes, we specifically use one. And so you should have already received the texting from our texting service. But basically we will use that to send you the weekly registration events. So it's really helpful. But also on the program calendar, you can subscribe to the Google Calendar that we use, and that will put all of the calendar events on your phone if you would like to have that feature as well. That way you'd get notifications before the event, but also those calendar invites have the registration link in them. So, but I just wanted to say that last little bit, and I'll give it back to Brian for closing.
That sounds great. Thank you so much, Downtown Amber Brown. Going to take things off screen share just for a second so we can kind of wrap up here. Like I said, I know that we've thrown a lot at you all tonight, but we are so excited for all things season 3. Season 3 is packed with incredible content and speakers that we can't wait for you to meet. We look forward to seeing everyone at our very first fireside chat next Wednesday, March 31st at 7 p.m. Central Time. And we're going to drop the registration link in the chat now. So please do not forget to register. With that, and on behalf of all of us at Trey Athletes, thank you so much for joining us for tonight's season 3 kickoff event. And until next time, to athletes everywhere.